All right, so today is just another review since the exam opened up at midnight. You have until midnight tonight to finish it up. Hopefully you've got a good start on that. Otherwise, if you want to use this time to do the exam, that's fine too. The review that I've got today is you're going to help me cheat at Wordle. So Wordle is a word game. It's a 5-letter word game here. Let me go ahead and increase the size. Basically, you have, I think, 6 guesses to guess a 5-letter word. For example, weary or pills or vague or whatever. And each move that you make or each word that you guess, it reports some information. So if you guess the correct letter in the correct position, then it'll tell you that. It'll be like a green here. If you guess the correct letter, but it's in the incorrect position, then it'll be gold here. And that means that there's an I in the word, but it's somewhere else in the word. If it's blacked out here, that means that that letter does not appear in there. Okay? So this is from the New York Times. You get to do it once a day or something here. So that's why I'm in privacy mode here. I did not try it here. So help me out. Let's play this together to understand how it is, and then we'll go ahead and cheat at it. So give me a 5-letter word.
Great.
Say again.
Great.
Great. Okay. So there is no G, there is no R. There is an E, but it is not in the 3rd position. There is an A, and it is in that position. So give me another 5-letter word, and there's no T. Give me another 5-letter word that does not have a G, does not have an R, does not have a T, but it does have an E, but it's not the 3rd letter, and it does have an A, and it has to be the 4th letter. Anything? You're not restricted, right? You could go ahead and guess something else. Pills, right? Okay, so now we know that there's an E and there's an L, right? Early, something like that, right? There we go. E-A-L, I don't know what it is. Again, you're going to help me cheat now, okay? So what I've got here is an American dictionary. Right? It's got 300 and some thousand words in it. Many of them are not 5-letter words. Some of them have like punctuation in it and diacritics and stuff like that we'll ultimately ignore. So the Wordle cheater that I'm going to develop here, let me go ahead and increase the size, is going to take a partially completed word. For example, over here, you know, we've got an A here. So it'd be blank, 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 A, blank. I want to find all words that have an A in their fourth position here. Okay? So that's the first way that we're going to cheat. I'm going to find all the 5-letter words with the fixed letter positions that you've already guessed. You've all done this already before. Something like this with the hangman in lab, what was it? The strings lab, whatever that was, right? We gave that you wrote a function that, given a partially completed word, it said, okay, well, reveal that letter. Don't reveal that letter. Instead, put in an underscore or something like that. Okay. The second way that we're going to cheat is by taking a list of excluded letters and not report the word if it contains those letters. So, for example, an input here would be blank T blank RT. We're going to search for all words that have blank T blank RT, but that also do not contain a Q, an L, a P, and a V. Okay? Understand? All right. So help me out. What's my first step here? Probably to open up that dictionary file, right? Open the dictionary file and read it line by line, ... Right? Let's go, since this is a review, what I want to do is I want to store each and every single one of those words in memory in an array of strings, but only if they contain if they're 5-letter words, right? Store the word in a an array if it is 5 letters, ... Okay? And then later on, I'll process it. Process each word, right? If it conforms to the input, report it. Otherwise, ignore it, ... So I want to do this part first because that's the bulk of the review. File I/O and string manipulation, right? Open up the dictionary file. File, F is equal to fopen, right? And the dictionary file is in the same working directory here. It is called American. That's because it's the American dictionary. There are alternatives. This is the only one I have on the system, though. So American, right? And I'll open it up for the purposes of reading. Now, just like all of the examples that we've seen so far, I could go ahead and hard code this to say, well, there are 307,993 lines in this file, right? But remember, I'm not interested in all of them. I'm only interested in them if there are 5 letters. So as a first step, let's go ahead and iterate through the lines of the file and count up the number of 5-letter words so that we can then go over it again and grab only those 5-letter words and store only those 5-letter words, right? So let's go ahead and go through each one. I need a buffer. Make it 1,000 or something. 100 is probably more than enough. 1,000 is certainly more than enough. And have a char star line equals forgets. Right? Read into the buffer at most 1,000 minus 1 characters from the file F. Right? And do that until you're all the way at the end of the file, while line is not equal to null. Right? And by the way, if I had my hack 10 code here, I wouldn't even be doing this, right? I would call my hack 10 code to load up all the lines and then iterate through that and only grab the ones that are 5 letters, right? I'm doing this from scratch because this is a review. Right? So while we're not at the end of the file yet, I need to check if it is 5 characters, increment counter. Right? So let me create a counter. Let me create it up here. Int num 5-letter words. Right? Always initialize that to 0. So if it's 5 characters, I'll increment my counter. If 5 characters, chars, then number 5-letter words plus plus. Right? And now read the next line. Reading the next line is simply just line is equal to forgets like this. Okay? At this point, we have, number of 5-letter words. We'll go ahead and initialize that stuff here in a second. Fill in this last blank for me. Help me. If it's 5 characters, how do I know if a string that I just read into the buffer is 5 characters or not? strlen of buffer. If that's equal to 5, okay, maybe. Let's think about that for a second. Let's come over here to the example. Right? AAHED. I have no idea what that word means, but apparently it's an American word, right? Head, I don't know what it is. But are there 5 characters in that line? In that line. What defines a line? An end-line character, right? We have those 5 characters, and then we go to the next line. So a 5-letter word will actually have, on its line, how many characters? 6. Right? So let's go ahead and count up the number of 6, right? 5-letter 6, because it has an end-line character that we are not chomping out. We will probably want to chomp it out, though, eventually. This phase here, I'm simply just reading in line by line by line and incrementing a counter. Now that I've got my counter, let's go ahead and set up a 2-dimensional array of characters, in other words, an array of strings. Create an array of strings, to hold all 5-letter characters. Okay? So char star star, because it's two-dimensional, right? Words is equal to char star star, a call to malloc, size of char star, because each one is a string, a character pointer, times how many of them do you want? Well, that's what I just did, right? The number of 5-letter words that you want. Okay? Then process the line or the file again, copying the words into copying only 5-letter words into your array. Dot dot dot. All right, let me go ahead and cut and paste this entire thing and modify it. Right? So I'll read the first line. While I'm not at the end of the file yet, if it has 6 characters, instead of incrementing a counter, what I'm going to do is make words of I equal to the buffer for now, right? So is this correct? I have no idea. We go to the next line and get the job done, right? If it has 5 characters, add it to words, dot, dot, dot. Right? If I add it to the words, of course, I will need to increment my index here. Oops, I plus plus, there we go. And I will need, of course, that index right here. Right? All right, so we need to fix this code. There are a couple problems here. First of all, remember, did we chomp out that end line character? Nope. So if it has 6 characters, let's first remove the end line character. How do we do that? Well, normally I would say, well, okay, if there are 10 characters in there, the last one is the end line character, strlen -1, and I'll set that to the null terminating character. But what do I know here? I already called strlen, and I know that it's 6. So where's that end line character? My pinky finger. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So buffer sub 5 is equal to the null terminating character. I just got rid of it. Now, is this line correct right here? I mean, it's making one string point to another string, but what is that the correct kind of copy? Right? There are 2 kinds of copies that we've covered here. There's a shallow copy and there's a deep copy. Which kind is this? It's the shallow copy. That's not what I want. I want to make sure that I'm copying the entire string over here into a brand new string, because buffer is actually going to be changing. Buffer is going to go on to the next line, the next line, the next line, the next line. Right? That's not what we want. What I want is a deep string copy, right, of buffer. Right? But I don't have that, do I? Right? If I go into my code repository of 50 different examples of where we've seen this already, then I can cut and paste that code. Let me go ahead and write it from scratch, though. Right? So this is going to be a call to malloc. Char star malloc, size of char, and how many of them do you want? If it's a 5-letter word, H-E-L-L-O, then how big do you need it to be? 5? Nope, if you're still making that mistake, then just run valgrind automatically, right? Because it always needs to be what? +1 for the null terminating character. Right? So in this case, it's going to be 6. Okay. Again, I'm not going to call strlen because I wouldn't even be in this block of code if I didn't know that it was already a 5-letter word and that I already chomped out the end line character. Right? There we go. Then read the next line. For close your file. For close F. Now there is a problem here. Maybe you saw it immediately. I'm reading the file twice, right? I read the file once, and then I go through it again, assuming that I'm already at the top, right? And then I close it. Right? The first time I read it, where is that file pointer at the where is that file pointer? It's not at the beginning. Where is it? It's at the end. Right? So how do I make it go back to the beginning for the second time that I do this? I could rewind, right? Rewind F, right? Or I could close it and open it back up, which is the solution we kind of expected, right? Actually, the solution we kind of expected was, write two functions. Go through it and count up the number of lines, right? That's a function. Go through it again. Now that you know how many lines there are, go through it again after you have set up memory to do so. Right? Okay. Let's make sure that this works. For int I equals 0, I is less than, what was the number? Num 5-letter words, I++. There you go. Printf, %s and the line, words sub I. I just want to see if it's actually working and we're only getting 5-letter words out of this thing. Okay? So GCC wordle cheater. A.out. There we go. Uh-oh. Darn it. What did I forget to do? That was not an intentional mistake, and then prompt you to help me fix it. That was an unintentional mistake, and now I'm going to prompt you to help me fix it. All I did was set up memory, didn't I? Did I actually copy the string? Nope. So what do I need to do to actually copy the string? strcpy into words sub I. Oop. And buffer. There we go. In fact, let's come down here and modify this. I want words of %d is equal to this. I want to find out how many there are, because if there are like only a couple dozen, I don't think that that's the case. I think that there are probably hundreds, maybe thousands. Right? We'll find out here. Yeah. Ooh, cool. So there are at least 13,000 5-letter words. Why are these coming up as 5-letter words? Because they got weird characters in them, right? So, who cares? Although we won't worry about those. Those will never come up anyway. But I will worry about caps, right? Capital letters and lowercase letters. Over here in Wordle, does it seem like that there's going to be a difference? No. So what I'm going to go ahead and convert everything immediately to to lowercase characters. Okay. Once I've copied everything over, let's go ahead and iterate over each. Like I would normally, I would say like 2 lowercase, right? Words of I. There we go. In fact, yeah, let's just do it that way. 2 lowercase words of I. Let's make a function to do that so that we're not, messing up our code anywhere. It'll be a void function. How do I iterate over, and this will be a const, or not const, but let's do it const first. Const char star s. I'm going to go through that and convert everything to a lowercase character. Right? Can I make it const if I'm going to be changing it, though? Nope. So I do need to make it char star. How do I iterate over each character in a string? For int I equals 0, I is less than strlen of s, I++. Right? And then I can convert each character into a lowercase, right, by saying that s of I is equal to, isn't it 2 lower of s of I? That's in that C-type library right there. Okay, that works. Let's see if all those caps have now been changed. It looks like it to me. I don't see any caps anymore. Right? I do see punctuation, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe we want to get rid of those. I don't know. Right? I way underestimated how many 5-letter words there are. We probably also want to remove anything with like punctuation and stuff like that. But this is a good start, right? So process each word. If it conforms to the input, report it. Otherwise, ignore it. So once again, I want to write a function here, right? Void, or no, int is or might be valid, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take a const char star word and const char star partial. Right? The behavior here is going to it's going to compare word to partial. Right? What we're going to do is we're going to ignore underscores, right? And but if there is a letter, for example, the example that we've got that I started with up here, blank t blank rt, right? Blank t blank rt, right? Start would match it, right? Pills would not, right? Why would start match it? Well, because we would iterate over this word. S is irrelevant because this is an underscore. T is correct. T is not an underscore, so it matches this, right? A is an underscore, so we ignore it. R matches and T matches. So we would return true that might be a valid word. Pills would not, because even though we would ignore P, the second one is I, and that does not match T. So once again, let's go ahead and go through each character and come up with a condition for which we should look at that particular character. Okay. Well, first of all, check your partial, right? If partial of I is not equal to the underscore character, then that means that we have to look at it, right? It is relevant. ... Now we need to check and see if it matches the word, right? If partial of I is equal to word of I, right? Then maybe it is ... Should I immediately stop and say that it is, though? No, because what about the other values, right? It could be that there is blank, t, blank, right? But the first t, we shouldn't say, oh, okay, that's a relevant word. Right? We need to make sure that all of them are relevant. Right? So let me flip this. What if they don't match? Do we have an immediate answer to our question? I and T, they don't match. Is that a relevant word? No, it is not relevant. What can we do? Return false. Not relevant. And I do have this std bool library here, so I can use that keyword there, right? All right. Otherwise, if it is equal to the underscore character, we skip it. If we get through everything and we never return false, what should we return? True. So let's go over this like we're whiteboarding it, right? If the word is start and the partial is this thing, how will it operate? It'll go through and see the first character in partial. It's an underscore. So we skip it entirely and go to the next character. Right? T and T match. So we don't return. I mean, the partial is relevant. It is not equal to the underscore character. So we come in here to this block. They are equal. So we skip that and we don't return false. And then we come back up here. And we continue with underscore R and then T. It would end up returning true for start. It would end up returning false for pills. Okay? So now let's go through this. For each word, there we go. For each word, if, what did I call that function? Might be relevant, might be valid. Right, there we go. Might be valid of words of is it words and then partial, or word and then, yeah, and then the partial. And the partial is going to be a command line argument, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hard code this now to that blank rt. I'm just going to test it to see if we can actually get start out of that. All right. Then I will print it out. Printf possible word is going to be %s and the line words sub I. We're going to get far fewer words now, right? GCC. Oops. There. Forgot a strlen of s. On line 36, what was wrong? Oh, I didn't call it s, I called it word. There we go. Yep, thank you. Pointed that out already. Very good. Uh-oh. All right, well, I'm also printing them all out, right? Let me go ahead and get rid of that debugging statement right there. I don't want all of them. There. I've only got two possible words, start and sturt. Those are both consistent with that partial right there, right? Okay. So already we could probably have a little bit of a guess here, right? Blank, 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 a blank. Blank, 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 a blank. Let's see how many words we're down to now. All right. Way too many. Still. So we need to continue to cheat. All right. What do we know is not in these words? We know G, R, P, I, L, T, S, Y. All of those should be excluded. One other thing that we could do is we could add valid words that are in the wrong place. Right? I didn't want to go that far today because we probably don't even have that much time. All right. All right. So that's a possible word. This is a. Let me change this to argv sub 1. Right? Because we're going to read that in as a command line argument, so that I'm not hard coding that. Now we know that that might be valid according to the known letters. Now let's go through and exclude the letters that we know are not in there. Right? That's going to be command line argument argv2. In fact, let me go ahead and write those up here. Let's see, char star partial is equal to argv sub 1, and char star excluded characters is equal to argv sub 2. Right? There we go. So, for each excluded character, ... if that character is in words of I, do not print it. However, if no excluded characters are in the word, print it. ... Okay. That sounds like another function to me, but let's just go ahead and do it right here. All right. So let me go ahead and create a flag variable, int print it. Right? And I'll assume that it's going to be true to begin with. I should be doing these as bools. There we go. Print it true. Until I find a reason not to print it. Right? So if words of I contains excluded characters. What did I? Damn it! What did I call it? Excluded characters, right? Excluded characters of J, right? Then don't print it. Don't print it. ... Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and iterate over each excluded character, right? For int J is equal to 0. J is less than strlen of excluded characters, J++. Right? If contains words sub I, excluded characters sub J, then I will say print it equals false. Right? If after this is all done, if print it, then print it. Printf possible word is going to be %s and the line word sub I. Do I have that function right there? Contains. Here's a word. Here's a character. Does that word contain that character? Is that a function in the string library? Probably not. So let's write it. come up here and write this function. Bool, right, contains const char star s char c. Now let's write what this function is supposed to do first. Returns true if the given string s contains the character c. Returns false if the string s does not contain c. Have you ever written a function like that before? Yeah, you just didn't do it with characters. What did you do it with? Integers. Right? Here's an integer array. Does it contain 42? Right? Does it contain 42 within these index bounds? Right? Et cetera, et cetera. Right? Well, what is a string? A string is nothing more than an array. It's just not an integer array. It's a character array. Right? So, how do I go about doing this? For int I equals 0, I is less than strlen of s, I plus plus. If the ith character in the string s is equal to c, then return true. Otherwise, after I get done, it's return false. It does not contain it. So if it contains it in the first one, or the second one, or the third one, or the fourth one, ... If it contains it anywhere in the string, it'll return true. But if it contains it nowhere in the string, it'll return false. Okay? Now let's come back down here and see how we used it. All right? So for each one of those excluded characters, we ask the question, does the ith word contain that jth character? If so, we're not going to print it. Right? It could contain multiple excluded characters. We don't care. We're just simply not going to print it at all. Right? And then we're going to print this possible word if it is there. Right? All right. So GCC. Now at this point, let me go ahead and start running this with the actual value here. All right. So I got blank, 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 a blank. So blank, 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 a blank. And my excluded letters will be GRTS. GRTS. What else was there? PILY? PILY? That should get us down to maybe a dozen, a few hundred maybe? I don't know. Okay, way too many still. Right. But certainly not thousands. Right? Possible word. Okay? I don't know. A-beam? We would have to go through another round of the words that we do know are in there. E-A-L. We've got enough time. Do we want to do that part too? Okay. All right. Before I do that, though, what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to put it into a function so that my code base here doesn't grow too much. Right? So let me go ahead and take this and put it into another function. Right? Bool, free of excluded characters, chars, const char s. There we go. Let me call it word, because that's what I do in this stuff right here. Right? So instead of print it being true, if I go through all, and then the excluded characters, const char star excluded characters. And what this will do is it'll go through for each excluded character. If that word contains that excluded character, then we will return false rather than just skipping its printing. Otherwise, we'll return true. No, sorry. Yeah, because otherwise we would have just stopped and returned false, right? There we go. Much, much simpler code too, right? If we just put this into a function and use it, right? So let's come back down here and use that now. If it might be valid and it is free of excluded characters, excluded characters, then let's see if it has all the characters that we're expecting, right? So come up here to the top. And now we'll expect 3 command line arguments. Char other characters is equal to argv sub 3. All right. So in other words, the way that I'm going to run this now is that, but I also know that there's an E, A, and an, or no, wait, sorry, L and E. Yeah, L and E. L and E. Right. Hopefully, now what that will do, that'll exclude everything that doesn't have an L and an E. Okay. All right. So, what did I call them? Other characters. Right. For each other characters, if the word sub I does not contain do not print it. Dot, dot, dot. Right. So for int j equals 0, j is less than strlen of other characters. Oh, sorry. What was it? Other characters. There we go. Other characters, j++. So for each of the other characters, if word sub I does not contain, hey, I put it into a function, right? That means I can reuse it. Right? One time I used it to say that does it contain this expected character? Does it not contain this expected character? So if word does not contain the other characters sub j, then do not print it. Right? Otherwise, if it contains all of them, then don't print it. I'll follow the same pattern that I had before. Bool, print it, and I will assume that it's true until I find reason to do it otherwise, to say otherwise. Print it equals false. Right? And then at the end of this for loop, if print it, then I'll print it. Printf possible word %s word z sub I. There. Let's compile that again. Darn it. 133. Let's start at the top here. Contains. There we go. And I forgot a parenthesis. There we go. Uh-oh. Excluded characters is undeclared in line 27. Because it's misspelled. There we go. Word. It should be words. There we go. Sorry. Just not typing well today. All right. Let's go back up here. Ah. I must have a bug in here or... Oh, no. I've got an L and an L. Can it both contain an L and not contain an L? Oh, I have a strong evidence here that that the program is correct, actually, because if you include a letter, if you exclude a letter and you include a letter, of course, it should not print anything. What did I say before? That it should have an L and an E. So get rid of that, I guess. GRTSPIY. GRTSPIY. I think I've got them all. Okay. I still have way too many. That's a huge dictionary of uncommon words. But I'm down. Bleak. Let's try it. Bleak. Nope. But B and K are now excluded. I can get this down further. B, K. All right, not that much. Which one of these is the most common word here? Metal? Haha. Yay. Let's use our tool here from the beginning. Unfortunately, I think that it's the same one every day. So let me start up another privacy mode here. Oh, come on. It saved it? Because it's still in privacy mode. So new. Is there wordle unlimited?
Yeah. It's like the second one.
This one?
I think.
Okay. I might have been here before. I don't know. If it ever loads. All right. Give me a word. Queen? All right. E, Q, U, and N. Now, double words, double letters, we haven't taken care of that, but that'd be beyond the scope of what we're gonna be able to do today. So Q, U, and E are exclusions, right? And it is, what was the form? E is in the middle, so blank, blank, E, blank, blank. And then Q and, I shouldn't have chosen something with a uncommon letter like Q, and N. And then something that we don't know, I'll go ahead and just leave it as a blank here until we've got another letter that we're sure of. All right, there we go. Okay, a lot of them. So help me out. Emery, like an emery board. Choose one of these words. Free, where? Freak? Okay. Freak. Oh, God. Come on. Cheating's not that good. All right, give me another 5-letter word. Say what? Oh, like crane, like that? Okay. Blank R-A blank blank. So, once again, blank R-A blank blank. And we don't have any other, or no, what are excluded words now? C, N, and A, C and A. There we go. And then we haven't found any other positive letters yet. Uh-oh. Oh, C-N, right? There we go. There we go. Trawl. Trade. I like that. That's common. Trade. Except that we know that E is not there. Oh. C-N-E. I should have run it with C-N-E. Sorry. C-N-E. I mistyped it and that A or something. There we go. Bravo. I don't think that's common, but B-V-O can now be excluded. B-V-O. That didn't cut it down too much. I should be counting these and reporting them as we're going along. Grass. All right, G and S are now gone. All right. That didn't help that much, dang it. Choose one of these words with a common letter so that we can get rid of a lot of them. Draft? What was that? I don't, oh, they're right there. All right. Draft. Hey, we can get rid of F and T, and we can update this. F, T. We can update this to D-R-A, and we're down to 3. Drail, drama, and drawl. I think that there's a winner there because one of those is common and the other 2 are not. Drama. Oh, okay, fine. Get rid of the M and the A. Oh, well, we can't get rid of the A because it's already in there. Drawl or drail? Drawl. Yay, we won. So the simple tool that you can throw together in about 50 minutes or so using file IO, string manipulation, right? And this was just, I have not done this right before class, but I knew how I was going to do it. You can clean this up greatly, right? So there's a lot of, for example, this stuff right here, I'd put that into another function, right? Exclude all letters, include all letters, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And then I would probably go through and, if you can come up with some way of scoring the words so that certain ones are more common than others, right? That's another way that you could do it. What else? What else did we not do? These are the excluded letters. These are the included letters, but we never had any. I don't know. One more game? It becomes addictive, right? Especially when you can cheat. Oh, yeah. I always used to start out with ideal. Why? Because you eliminate 3 vowels right off the bat. Right. I-D-E-L. So I don't know any of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I do know that I-D-E-L are all wrong. But that I do know that, what was the other one? A is in there. Now let me give myself some more room. All right. Huh, swank. There you go. A and N, SWK. So those are now excluded. SWK. And I've picked up a new one, N. Okay, we're down to some number. I see agony. Choose one with the most common letters, right? Oh, bacon. I like that. Bacon. Because you like bacon. C-O-B are now gone. C-O-B. Right? Got rid of another vowel. Right? Come on. Suggestions? Funny. Or Fanny. No, that's not. There is no funny. I just misread Fanny. Fauna. Those are common. Human? That looks like human. H-U-M. I shouldn't have done that because I knew that N was not the last letter, right? But I did H-U-M. I got rid of those. H-U-M. Right? Go ahead and just yell it out if you see one that's angry. That looks common. And it's consistent with all the other values, right? Oh, yeah. There we go. So, any questions? That's the other thing that we could have done too, right? We could have gone through and we know that we know from this that A is not the fourth letter. So what you could do is you could set it up so that here are the known letters. Here are the letters that are known not to be there. Here are the letters that are known to be in it somewhere, but not at these particular positions. That would be a hell of a lot of more work and much more sophisticated type of input to do that, though. But since we wrote this cheater, we never haven't lost yet, have we? All right, cool.